Do you have money stuck in PayPal? Do you have money stuck in Stripe or maybe some other payment processor? I have had money stuck myself for over 185 days or 360 days. I don't even remember. Just one day I got money back and it was awesome. But if you have money and it got stuck, today we're going to talk with a payment processing expert. We just did a long form video with him. So if you want to know all about the whole thing of payment processing, how to do it right, that's great. You can click the link to that video. But in this video, we're going to talk about what happens when your money's stuck and how to get the money unstuck. So today I have with me Michael Ramsey. He's an expert in this. Let's just jump right into this video. Tell me a little bit about why people get payments stuck in these payment processors. And you're going to have to give us some context, I'm sure. And then how do we get the money out? Let's start the conversation. Why do people get the money stuck in these processors?
Yeah, so segueing off the prior video, what the risk, I would say the risk measures and the things that are looked at are scaling too fast. So an online business that's scaling super, super fast, and that's essentially a fraud trigger. So when money laundering happens, there's a massive spike in activity from like zero, it could be maybe $500 in one day, then all of a sudden it hits, right? And so that emulates the fraudster behavior. And so that is what happens with a lot of drop shipping companies, right? They hit a winning product and all of a sudden an ad goes viral and their product sales spike, right? So that's one. The second is selling cross border, right? So if all of your sales are going overseas or to another country, that's another trigger that can lead to a potential shutdown. And then two that really are controlled by the owner are product quality. So if there's issues with product quality, again, I keep mentioning drop shipping, but customer has, they order shoes and the sizing's off or just poor quality, right? They're not as advertised. And this can be anything, medical device, it doesn't cure a problem. Product quality is going to be an issue. And that's really, in my mind, controlled by the owner. And then shipping times, not displaying the shipping times correctly. Customers are waiting. They want that Amazon experience, but they're like, you know what? It's taking too long. I think I'm scammed. They're going to charge back. Those are like the four horsemen in terms of what's going to lead to a shutdown. And that's where we step in and help de-risk the business. We'll look at it and just open up all of the mechanics of the business and look at each of those four segments and start to prescribe solutions to help them get the money out or de-risk the business.
So let's give a quick example. So we have Bobby is an expert in how to learn to be a dentist. And he's like, I'm going to launch this online course. He's hyping it up. He has a Stripe account. He's like, launches it to his huge list and he sells $200,000 of how to be a dentist course. Obviously, you said that's a big spike. He just did a launch. It's a brand new payment processor. Stripe accepts all the money and then they freeze his funds. So
right.
What would be like the next steps? Because obviously, like we want to get the money out as soon as possible, but like sometimes the time period is arbitrary or you can't get a hold of him. Like how would what was his name in that example? How would Scott get his money from his dental school?
Yeah. So, 200,000, we see this all the time. I mean, this is almost like a daily occurrence, but what Stripe's doing is that when you board with them initially, you're not boarding with a human being, like a one-to-one relationship. You're dealing with a computer. So the computer is collecting the data. They're just fact checking, the KYC, KYB information. So now they see this massive spike, right? So now a human being intervenes and literally most of the time, if not 99.9% of the time, it is a lower level employee at this company that is looking at this data. So they're asking for information to validate sales. It could be invoices. It could be your go-to-market plan. They want to know your financial condition because what they want to look at is that, okay, now you have this massive spike, but they want to look at the chargeback exposure that is potentially happening here, right? Because customers have 6 months, 12 months in some regions. If they're using the Amex card, it's infinite. They can charge it back 2 years later. So they want to look at the amount of exposure that is right now on Stripe's record, right? They're holding the money if things come in, because if they fund the merchant and then chargebacks come piling in, well, Stripe's holding the bag and Stripe's not going to hold the bag. So we will come in and look at it and say, okay, let's look at the business model. And is this a sound business model, right? Is everything disclosed and there was a massive spike? We want to look at their delivery or their fulfillment process in this digital good or service that you're mentioning. We want to look at the refund policy. We'll want to get in and dive deep and look at it and provide recommendations to say, okay, you should modify these certain things here. And then we would also reach out to customers, see how they think about the product, what the reviews are showing. So we want to provide a compelling business case to then get the money out from Stripe, and we have contacts there. So like for us, and the reason a lot of guys work with us is because we have all these contacts decked out at all these major processors where we're sending the business case. They kind of know us now at this point, and they're routing to a higher level compliance team, not a lower
And
level
more
compliance
importantly,
team.
you know them and what they're looking for. Like, so
Right.
it's a smooth process. So you have the contacts at Stripe and all these processors, and that's what you, but basically that's it. You have to put together the compelling information about that, right?
Yep. Yep. And it's called our risk assessment plan. It's like a 25-page, sometimes it could be longer, 35-page document. It's a really comprehensive review of the business. And then what we do is we'll go in and certify it and appraise it. So a reserve is not a bad thing for a brand new business. Now, 100% reserve and holding 200 grand, that's bad, obviously.
And
And typically,
it's really tough when you're doing e-commerce on a 20% margin. You
right.
can't do it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, again, our goal is to get as much money out as possible. Now, we also have to look at it and make it make sense. In a lot of cases, we may propose at 15% reserve in the case where it's 25% and say, well, your chargeback rates are X, Y, and Z. And so they're looking at a 6-month window of exposure and not just chargeback, but refunds as well. So there's also like, we look at the service, like all these people are complaining. That's going to lead to people when they get a package, they're going to be like, oh, I saw this online now. And now I don't want it anymore because this person said it's bad. So there's all these perceived risks that are in there too. So we try to get the money out as much as possible. We've had multiple success stories, numerous success stories, but we also are reasonable with our partners because Stripe is our partner. We work with them often, almost on a daily basis. And so that's where you're coming. It's almost like coming to court with an attorney versus going to court without an attorney. That's really how you want to look at it.
That's a great example. Yeah, you can still win if you represent yourself, but you probably won't. It,
Yeah. And a lot more work for you too, right? Just
yeah, a
pay
lot
us and we'll
more
do it.
work, and you're probably, unless you're like unless you're obviously innocent, but it's always like you can't. It doesn't even matter. You shouldn't represent yourself in court. That's even worse than representing yourself in front of a payment processor. But um, maybe traffic court. It's like going to traffic court by yourself. I remember we skipped the line.
Yeah.
Traffic court's a better example. Not court's too broad. Traffic court, because I went to traffic court by myself. You sit there for an hour and a half. You eventually talk to the judge, and you can say, "I didn't do it." And he's like, "Ah, yeah, you did." And then they give you the ticket. When you
Yeah.
go with an attorney, they just go to the front of the line, talk to the judge, and then it's done, and then you leave. So
Right.
it's faster
Yeah.
and a better result. Yeah.
And then you see the attorney that you work with, like having beers with the judge. That's kind of what it is, to be honest. Because I'm at a conference next week. I'm meeting like guys at Adyen, Airwallex, Stripe, PayPal. I mean, everyone's there. So it's like we all know each other, you know?
AirWallex does payment processing too, right? Because
Yep.
that's something that I
Hmm.
didn't really realize. I have an account with them, but I didn't even know how to set up the payment processing. Yeah, we're gonna have a separate call, but that's really interesting. In this video, the point isn't just promote what Michael's doing and sell what he's doing. He's giving you the information. He's telling you guys exactly how to like do this. You have to put your stuff together to show that you're low risk. A business plan, the market, reviews, testimonials, and understanding of this. Obviously, as a business, Michael helps people with this. And if you have a big hold, like a 6-figure hold or account getting shut down, that's what you can do. And I don't know, you have any other like points about this real quick? Because I do want to keep this video kind of focused on getting your money back. How's it with PayPal? What's like dealing with PayPal holds? Because that happens a lot.
Yeah, PayPal, it's the same. The operational mechanics of how we're submitting information is different. And also you got to look at the regions that you're selling in. Now, we're just talking about the US. So in the US, PayPal is not considered or regulated like a bank would be. In EU, it's a bank. So there's some fundamental differences between what entity you're working with here, and if you're dealing with PayPal Hong Kong. So yes, I would say the answer in terms of how we're getting the money out and that approach is similar. Um, it's just that PayPal is just a little bit more bureaucratic in terms of how you're sending the information in, and you gotta, it's really spread out in terms of their support team. So in some cases, we do have to get a legal partner involved to really execute and ensure that they're reading the data if we have a really compelling case, which we have a partner that we work with often on very complex cases, I would say. It
Yeah.
just depends.
So In terms of like someone contacting you, because I have a guy who has a hold for like $5,000. You know, he's probably got a push on it. What are like kind of the limits of what you'll work with on a hold, or when does it make sense to like engage you when you have money held up?
Yeah, if you have like 100% hold, something's off, right? I think, we typically start at 10,000 or more. 5,000 is something that we can do, but that could be normal. Like I'll give everyone a free analysis and say, it's a 10% pullback for 60 days and you just started and you're selling 100 items of apparel. That's a very high chargeback exposure based on the products you're selling. And you're selling it in Germany, which has a massively high return rate, is an example. I'm just telling you one here, but I would say you actually have a pretty solid deal, but we can, if someone's got 5 grand hold and it's been sitting there for 240 days, 100% hold, okay, something's wrong here. Let's try to get your money out. So we'll always just give an analysis and like let them know and say, okay, no, this one is something will work. We'll take it.
Okay, that's awesome. And also, Michael has, if you want to know more about credit card processing and like the holds are tough. The hold, you get a hold, you have to talk to them and push back and see, and you have to build your case. And obviously, you can contact an expert like Michael. There's not a lot of like, I've been doing this for a long time. I haven't been approached by too many people. There's not a lot of credit card processing, like independent experts. Everyone else is working for a company. Everyone's working for their own business. Michael's a free agent out here. He's just like, wants you to get the best solution. He works for you. It's just like, well, I'm not working for a bank or a payment processor. I just want my clients to operate a business, make money, and pay the least taxes possible and have the tools they need. That's why I'm interviewing guys like Michael. So you guys can, I don't do what he does. So that's why I'm bringing him here and getting this information out to you guys. Now, I say that because if you want to learn more about the credit card processing and how to get your business approved and how to do all this stuff, tell us a little bit about your academy, the thing you were promoting, the free academy, and like how people contact you and stuff.
Yeah, we just launched that. It was earlier, maybe a couple weeks ago, actually in October here. But yeah, it's just go to our website at competence.com. So Paytence instead of just regular competence, but competence. Go there, and then there's an academy link, and then click the academy. Then you just enroll, and you have immediate access right there, and it'll go over all the mechanics of how to open an entity and really remain compliant with a payment processor and what's required there. And then I give a lot of insights about, what the differences are with Shopify payments and Stripe, chargeback alerts, how to manage chargebacks. And there's just a lot of good stuff that I've been getting a lot of questions about over the last, 15 years of my career that is just there for you to access and you leverage.
Yeah, that's really cool. And thanks for being here. Thanks for sharing that information. That's where you can find information in the description. Comment if you have any other questions we didn't answer. Like and subscribe because you appreciate me putting out good information like this. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Thank you so much, Michael.
Yep. Thank you. Appreciate it.